In this how-to, we are going to learn how to work with multiple result sets using DataSet. There might be a scenario where your store procedure having two select statement, and that will naturally return two result set. So in that kind of scenario, instead of using a data table with the SQL adapter, you will have to use DataSet. So when you will call the SQL adapter.fill method, instead of passing data table, you will have to pass data set, so that both more than one result sets will be converted into more than one data tables inside the data set. So let us learn how to do that. So for that, what we have done is that we have created two grid view on the ASPX page. As described earlier, grid view is nothing but a data control that helps us to present the data in the tabular format on the page. So here I have two grid view 1 and grid view 2, and in the code behind, what we are doing is that we are first keeping the underscore constr variable, that will be page level variable, that basically retrieve the database connection string from the web.config file, this one. And then under the page load event, what we will do is that we will write our code. I'm going to explain that code, whatever I'm going to copy paste from this ebook. Okay, so here is my code. Now let's see what is written in this code. Okay, so here what we have is that please hold on. It looks like there is some problem here. Yes, here what we have is that in the page load event, we have first instantiated the data set, and then we have instantiated the database connection by passing the connection string. And then in the SQL variable, we have two selected statements. The first is getting the data from the personal detail table, and then we have a specified semicolon, and the second one is getting the files information from the files table. So in this case, we have two selected statements in the SQL. The same scenario can be in your stored procedure also. So in a stored procedure, when you are writing multiple selected statements, you do not need to separate them out with the semicolon. You can simply write two selected statements. Now when we will execute using the data adapter, then what will happen is that when we write data adapter.fill method, then because this selected statement, this SQL variable having two selected statements, so it will return two result set from the database, and both result sets will be saved into the data set as two table. Okay, if we will pass data table here only, instead of data set we could have passed data table object here, then only first select statement records would have been filled into the data table. But because here we have to work with the multiple result set, so we have passed data set here. So in this data set now we will have two tables, because there is two selected statement here, and both tables we will be able to access through its indexer. So dset.tables of 0, that will have the records from the personal detail, and dset.tables of 1, that will have the result set of the second selected statement. And we are setting the data source of grid view, and then we are calling the data bind method in both of the grid views. So what it will do is that when we will run this page, it will basically populate the personal detail into the first grid view and the files information into the second grid view. Let me run this page and show you how it is looking like. So here is my page. And it is looking like, see here, the first grid view and the second grid view. Okay, so it's pretty simple. As long as your SQL statement or stored procedure is returning two or more than one result set, you can simply use the data set and forget about everything else. You do not need to worry about anything else. You just use the data set in the fill method, and based on the number of statements, selected statement written into the SQL, your data set will be filled with that number of tables, and you will be able to retrieve those tables only using the indexers. Now in the last how-to we saw that how to work with multiple results using the data set, but in this how-to we are going to learn that how to work with multiple result sets using SqlDataReader, and this can be the same applies to the OLED data reader or any other edu.net data reader. So for that also we have to grid view on the SPX page. So let me just do the same thing here. I think we already have, however just let me copy paste so that it will exactly replicate the code that is written into the ebook. And then we have again the same thing here, underscore constr. So here is my underscore constr that is getting the database connection string from the web.config file, and here is my code under the page load event. So let me just copy paste the code under the page load event. Yes, and then looks like we are done. There is one more problem somewhere. Yes, okay, here also. Yes. Now here you can see that I have as usual instantiated the SQL connection, passed the database connection string, and this SQL variable have also two selected statement. One is getting the record from the personal detail and another is getting record from files table. And then we have instantiated the SQL command by passing the SQL variable that have two selected statement, and then database connection, and then open the connection SQL connection. And then this is important, here we have executed the reader of the SQL command, and that will basically give a reader object. And in this reader object what we will do is that because this reader object will have two result sets, so first result set we will simply specify with the data source of the grid view, and then we will call the data bind, and then in order to retrieve the next result set from the reader object we will have to call the reader.next result set method, and that will basically shift the cursor to the next result set into the reader. And then when we will specify the data source of the grid view to the reader, then this will basically populate the results, the second result set from the reader. So the important point here is the next result method of the reader object. Now let me run this page and let me show you what the result. Now here you can see that, let me close it out and run it again. Now here you go, you can see that first grid view is populating with the personal detail record, and second grid view is being populated with the files information. Now let me write one more column here. Let me put one active also here to make sure that this result is being populated. So let me refresh this page, and now you can see the active record is also coming.